when you got Zenjoy started, or when you started like making the process, what was like, I guess, like the big idea when you first originally got started?
The idea has changed a lot. So like the short of the story is we started what was Zen Hemp Infusions or
Mhm.
Zen CBD beverages years ago. Actually, I have a can I can show you, which is so fun.
Okay. Sneak peek.
So like this isn't the first rendition of the brand. This is technically the third, I want to say,
Okay.
third or fourth. But as you can see that,
Love it.
so it has the same ingredients that we have now plus CBD, and then this is version 6 that we just launched into market here locally, and we'll start
That's,
rolling out more
yeah,
in the next few months.
I love the packaging.
Thank
Looks
you.
nice.
Yeah. And so it became something like originally, the long story is originally we started a CBD business. I was a minority partner in that business. It actually was a photographer, videographer. I kind of knew some of the guys through some personal friends, and they worked with a couple shitty photographers, and then they were looking for someone else. I got connected with them, and then they were kind of like, hey, let me pay you. And I said, no, I want to just learn the business. I want to kind of see what you guys like got going on. At the time, I was in community college here. I wasn't super into it. I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. We
Yeah.
were all like, I want to say 19, 20 years old. I'm 27 now. And that hemp company, when in 2018 everything became legal, that hemp company kind of started to grow. And we very quickly had a warehouse, and we did 6 figures. We did 7 figures in revenue in a year and a half.
You're
And
serious?
yeah, it was blowing up. I mean, we were pumping a lot of money into it. So
Yeah.
like there was a lot of debt on the books as well, which
Yeah.
comes to factor later, unfortunately. But
Mhm.
we were growing that business. We weren't being super smart about how we were spending the cash. And because I just worked so much for these guys for free, they were like, let's give this guy some sweat equity. So I ended up
Mhm.
having a couple of percentages in the company, like nothing crazy.
Mhm.
And then that's when we created Zen Hemp Infusions, which originally it was Zen CBD Beverages, which is a plastic water bottle with CBD, tasted like ass. Honestly, looked like someone fucking came in it. Like I'm not even joking. Like the CBD would fall out of solute, and it literally was like white substance in a bottle, and it tasted like pennies. It was really bad, but we were able to sell that product somehow. And then at that time, CBD was all the craze, right? So everyone was jumping in on it.
When was this? When was this?
This was, I want to say 2019, probably
Oh, this is pretty
2018,
recent. It's not that long ago.
yeah. So like what was that, 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5, 6
6
years.
years ago. And then we launched Zen Hemp Infusions in plastic. Again, not a great product. It had 10 milligrams CBD. Like for me, I need like, and CBD, for anyone that does not know, is not psychoactive. It's not going to get you high at all. It's really just for like, I mean, it has multiple uses, but we were really pushing the stress relief side of that.
Yeah.
And we made 4 different flavors. It was lemonades and teas. 2 of the flavors we still kind of use today, but they're just revamped and kind of renewed. And that's a honey green, a lavender black tea, and then we had a passion fruit, or sorry, what was it? Prickly pear lemonade and an original lemonade.
Mhm.
But we didn't really use that much sugar, and we used erythritol, which I'm like not a big fan of the sugar.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And it did not taste good, dude. Like
Yeah.
we do a lot of sampling events. We always have. I'm a big boots on the ground marketing guy. Big, just like for everything sales related, you got to be boots on the ground. Like I know we have social media; it's super powerful. I have some friends who've built major e-com brands, but when it comes to CPG, when it comes to I think also things like clothing, etc., like if you really want to be building like a culture around what you're doing, you need to be in the streets
Yeah.
actually selling.
And you know what? Why do you think that? Because like I saw, I don't know if it's you. I think it is you. Like out on the streets, like going out, in the ground floor, and just like promoting the product, giving samples. Is that like by design? Like, did you guys want to do that originally, or is that just kind of how it happened?
We're big with liquid to lips. So when we had the plastic, people would drink it and spit it out in front of us. You know what I mean? So it was, yeah. So it was kind of a humbling experience. But then once you moved into this version of the cans, you have new formulation. The flavor was really there, and we knew that the flavor was there. And we're big on the inch deep mile, or sorry, inch wide mile deep type of concept, especially regionally here. It gives us that big base to kind of be able to build off of, and also gives us a big space to be able to test products, try things out, learn more about our target consumer before deciding just to grow out from there. If you decide to step national, it happens all the time with brands, especially in retail and brick and mortar. If you go national before really knowing what you're doing or what the customer is looking for, maybe the product hasn't been improved to where it needs to be, you're not going to succeed. And unfortunately, working with these major distributors, they can totally screw you very
Yeah,
quickly.
and I was gonna say too, because I think I saw in your link that I think you guys are what, like 500 stores at this point, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
right around 500. Yeah, and
How the world is that in 4 years? You know, and I think everything's still bootstrapped,
yeah,
right? Like you guys getting 500. What do you
yeah.
think was like? Was it a person that got you there? Was it just the system? Like, how'd you guys get there?
It was just a lot of hard work on our side. We definitely haven't done it the easy way. I'm sure there's like a simpler way to make it happen, you know. But what we've really done is it started with just an idea of us saying, let's do what's called DSD. So that's direct to store distribution. And we said, let's just try it out. And so like I was doing most of the deliveries. We were all doing sales. I had a Ford Ranger back then. I was literally like 2-door pickup truck, and we would fill the back. If it was raining, I'd fucking tarp it, you know,
Yeah.
and then we would literally just drive out to the stores, and we just started going to independents, because at that time it was Zen Hemp Infusions, and none of the major retail chains would even touch us because their compliance teams were like, this is federally illegal. It still is today. As much cannabis as we all consume in our society nowadays, it still is that federally illegal. And when you talk about massive companies like Ahold, which is the owner of Giant and Food Lion, which we're in now on the East Coast, or any of the bigger chains across the board, they can't touch you. You know, they would, even if they wanted to, their compliance teams would say, hey, this can't happen on a large scale. And so we just started going to independent stores. We got local stores like Green Valley to bring us in, local stores like Rawls, Yes Organics here in the DMV. If anyone is in the area, then they might know some of those names. And we just started to build. And a few months later, we decided like CBD wasn't going to cut it. We needed to remove that stuff to really go to market at a large scale. And we did like one small convenience chain launch, which is called Highs, which is 50 stores out here. And the buyer there has just been a blessing, and a friend of ours now for a few years. And he's just continued to help us grow across that set in the convenience channel. And then we kind of met a mentor partner of ours now, and he like we already had an in with Giant. We're talking to them. He jumped on that call. He makes them feel comfortable about it, and they give us the opportunity to DSD into all the Giant stores. That's how we started. It was 160 locations. We were out of our own van that we bought, like a really shitty ProMaster that was super dented up. I bought it in New York and had to drive it back and like check engine light coming on, misfiring,
messed up.
Yeah, and we didn't have the money to take it and spend $4,000 to get stuff fixed. So a buddy of mine and myself spent a Sunday all day, like 12 hours, 16 hours, literally doing the engine. We had to actually do what's called like the front end seal of the engine to just take off so much random shit off the top and just kind of pop the top engine cap off, pop the seal out, redo the seal. We did all the coilovers across it, and now it's run great, and we haven't really had any serious issues since then.
Are you like you know like about cars, like you mechanic, or you just figure it out on the spot?
No, my buddy is. So I'm just blessed to have a friend that really has done that his whole life, and now he just owns his own business, like doing different really cool cars. Like he has a last time I saw him was a month and a half ago, and he had a Bronco in his garage, and it was like a $250,000 Bronco that was like super souped up.
Hey, you should tell him to pull up on and Zenjoy to the stores like that, man.
Yeah, it's always like, it's not his, like, that's the only thing, it's not his car. But he's done, like, when Odell Beckham was here in Baltimore, he's done his Rolls Royce, and he's like big in that car scene for doing mostly it's like audio stuff in the cars and doing speaker systems, but he does pretty much everything. And so because we're blessed to have people like that in our lives, we were able to fix that one up. And we ran that in a rental to go into all the stores, not even realizing that just distribution on its own into Giant, and now we do DSD to Food Lion. And hopefully this year we'll have a couple other regional partners, like a Harris Teeter or a Safeway here regionally. Whole Foods would be crazy.
And I actually wanted to ask you about that, because when I've noticed this with, I don't know, you might have seen this too. Like I see a lot of brands, especially CPG based brands, when they're starting up, they usually have like either a person or a vision, a system, a product. They have something. It's usually one or two things that are the biggest things driving them forward. You know what I mean? So for Zenjoy, for you guys, like what do you feel was that one thing that kind of made you unique from everybody else that helped you get to where you are?
I mean, it's the stress relief component. I mean, obviously when we were CBD, it wasn't very defined. We just had infused with a calming twist on the can, and then we moved into relaxation drink. And our new rendition of the product actually says stress relief drink right there on the front. And that's really, like, to backtrack, honestly, we should have started there. That's what Zenjoy is. We are a stress relief drink. So it tastes like iced tea. We're using just regular sugar. We have 4 flavors. We have 2 green teas, 2 black teas, mango, passion, lavender, and honey in there. We use a little bit of real honey in our lavender and our honey as well. And that's it. It's super simple. Ashwagandha, L-theanine, lemon balm, 500 milligrams across the board. And there's a ton of brands that have these ingredients in there, but they're not defining that for stress relief. You can walk into a store, any grocery store in the country, go into their vitamin, their supplement section, and you'll see stress relief gummies right there. And it's Ollie or Goli or even their own house brands, and it's using the exact same ingredients at the same dosages. It's just not fun. No one's walking around being like, oh, this is my buddy's brand, Primal Queen. I'm like helping them make some stuff. If you're a lady looking for some beef organ supplements, Primal Queen. But like no one's walking around with like supplements being like, dude, check out these, like are made like AG1. Primal Queen now is a massive online operation, but like no one's really going with that supplement bottle and showing it off to their friends and doing that. But when you have a can like this, it's something that you can make into an event. It's an experience, it's fun. It's what we call in marketing sticky. And we've seen that kind of just continue to flow. Like when we launched Food Lion now about 3.5 months ago, and we had done, when we launched Giant, dude, we were the 3 of us, we've probably done thousands of hours of events across the last 3 years. We've spent every weekend like 5-10 hours a person per day, as you can do 2 events, 5 hours each, Saturday and a Sunday, in the stores doing events, sampling people to make sure that we would win. You know what I mean? That was it. That was all we were going to do to make sure, because if you don't win the first time, especially in CPG, if you're not selling and they take you off that shelf, good luck getting back in. You know what I mean? It might take 3 years. It might take 5 years. And with this being our first big opportunity into retail, and conventional retail, we had to win. But in Food Lion, we just did displays and we had our product and not even a great place in the store. It's the local rack, which honestly is just not a very good set.
Place.
And we've been slinging. I mean, not only are we the #1 seller in local, but like I'm hopeful that they're even considering us to put us in a mainline spot in the stores because of how well we're doing. Yeah. And it's just because of the fine stress relief on the cans, where it's a 2 for $5. And it's all about perceived value, right? So that's why people spend so much money on their coffee and their energy drinks, is because they want that energy, right? They don't care if it's $4, even when the economy's down. They don't care if it's $4. And for us, we're a little bit cheaper than that. And our thought process is, when people try it, they get a can for $2.50. When they do feel that stress relief, because it really does work, then they'll come back and buy more immediately, right? Because that's the perceived value of that product. And it's just driving trial. And I don't know why anyone else hasn't jumped into that. Maybe like the big VCs or anything. Everyone's so focused on non-alcs right now. And things that have these types of ingredients. Another thing I see in the market is that most people aren't putting enough milligram in their drinks. So we try to go off of the actual dosages that are recommended based on clinical trial. And it wasn't something I came up with. We have a mentor who is in the supplement space, and he said, hey, these are the ingredients you should use at around this dosage. And we got in touch with the companies. I mean, one of them is the KSM 66 ashwagandha. For anyone listening, if you take ashwagandha daily, make sure it's KSM 66. This is the only what's called GRAS approved, generally recognized as safe version of ashwagandha on the market. That's the reason, like, unfortunately, the FDA doesn't do a great job. Hopefully they don't come after me for saying that.
Well, you know what? I think, no, you guys got it. I think you guys got it on lock. I mean, I could obviously go into all that, but like, do you think you're going to stick with this type of ingredients and product for a while, or are you going to switch it again? It's that good. Wow.
Yeah. This is, I mean, it's been almost a year and a half, almost 2 years since we did the brand change. And even since Zen Hemp, like, we had the same ingredients. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
We removed the hemp, and then we also removed rhodiola, which is, and the only reason we removed the rhodiola is we just found out that it's actually an endangered species. And so we can't grow it sustainably. So we just said, let's not even mess with that.
And one thing I wanted to ask you too. So you're kind of in the unique spot where, like, before even Zenjoy happened, like, you were selling a crap ton of products, right? As far as like CBD, which is unheard of for a lot of brands. So I guess like the beginning did, you kind of got on the right foot in the beginning, but now as you guys are starting like to scale and go into more stores, feel like, not do you feel, but what is one of the bigger challenges that when startup brands are like looking at like, oh, I want to get to your place, they don't realize that this is like the next big thing we have to chew on and get through. Like, for you guys, what is that challenge right now?
The challenge right now for us is growth, for sure. And this is a challenge for all startups. in general, it's a balancing act. So the reason that we did so well with that first brand, but then ended up failing, is because we really over leveraged ourselves. We had a lot of debt. I had a 7,200 square foot warehouse. We had a sales team. We had a warehouse team. We had the admin team. All of us getting paid. And when the sales fall off, all of that fell apart. You know what I mean? Like the industry changed in CBD. It started to be Delta 8, which is like kind of just like legal synthetic weed that gets you high.
Yeah.
We didn't at the time want to become drug dealers, and honestly, I totally should have. I'd probably be on a fucking island right now. We would have had to exit like $50 million, and I would have been like, deuces. But I'm so much more passionate about what I do now, and our drink actually is helping people. That it's a much better position, at least in my opinion. Even if we'll have a bigger exit in the future. But to get back to actually what you were asking, a lot of people want to just raise a ton of money. I was literally talking to a buddy about this yesterday. Raise a ton of money, burn that cash, grow revenue year over year, but be not profitable or not even pushing to be profitable. And that's kind of a big thing in all business nowadays and all new age business. And in my mind, it's just not the way to go. Like, I'd rather take it slow and build an actual like kind of profitable business. Usually you're not profitable on books, right? But it's tax implications. But the idea for us is really to do as much as we can to be a sustainable business. We want to raise, like we're raising right now on a safe note, and we're raising at a 5 million valuation, 20% discount. We're trying to raise maybe about $500,000, but maybe even a little bit less than that because we don't need to. And then maybe do a Series A when we decide to go national in the next couple of years, and then not raise it all after that. At that point, we'll be around a $10 million business. And at that point, we can be bankable, whether it's leveraging our assets or it's leveraging our revenue to get loans, whatever it is. That's the goal for us, is to build a real business that's not always drowning, to need to continue to raise. We continue to see these massive companies that have the crazy valuations, but if they can't raise that next set of funding, they continue not only to devalue themselves as the owners, so they have no equity in their companies, they actually aren't running their companies anymore. So, once a VC takes over 50%, you're done. You know what I mean? You're getting kicked off the board. You're not running the company. They might start firing your employees. And the goal for us is to build a real business like it used to be built 50 years ago, 100 years ago, where it started as two guys going around to stores, dropping off product. And then now it's a multi-million dollar, $100 million business. It's family owned and operated. They still own outright most of their equity. And that's really where we want to be. That's the goal for us. I love what I do. Like, I'm super passionate about it. And the goal, I mean, obviously, hey, if we can do $1 billion exit, that'd be cool, right? But if I can also just be profitable, revenuing $100 million a year, and I'm pocketing millions of dollars myself a year.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like, the money is not always the goal.
And you know what? And I think a lot of, especially brand owners in the beginning, have to some extent have to come to the realization that growth is great, and it's one of the things that's going to boost them up, and they see the big numbers, like you were saying, like $1 billion valuation. You see all these like liquid death, but they don't realize, like, hey, if you guys are making money, you could drown. Right?
Very quickly.
Do you feel like that at this early stage of a business, when they're first starting out, should be one of the biggest things they're concerned about that they're maybe not thinking of now?
Yeah, yes and no, right? I always stress CPG founders specifically that you need to raise money in the beginning. Yeah. But when I say that, I'm not talking about $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, figure out what your finances really look like. Know that you're really not going to be paying yourself. And if you are, you're going to be paying yourself like $30,000, $40,000 a year, which is not a lot of money for someone who's running $1 million operation, right? It's just not. But you can't take 10% of that yourself. It's going back into the business, especially if you want to grow. But like even for us, I mean, we call it FFF, friends, families, fools. That's how it goes when you're raising capital. I mean, of course, it's not that standard, but that's kind of like the joke of who you're raising capital from. And so like figure out what that first production run looks like. For us, it was, I mean, unfortunately, we've gotten screwed over from manufacturers, but figure out what that first production run looks like. Figure out what that looks like as far as getting that product to market. What's that marketing budget look like? Is it displays? Are you running ads online? Whatever that is, and raise a little bit of capital there to then sell the product in stores. If you can do it even slower than that, where if you can like go into farmers markets with some stuff that you're doing, like in a local kitchen, it's like a clean kitchen that you're renting space from, just to test the market and see what people say. Because we spent so much money and time building out things like this when if we had gotten to where we are now faster, right, then we could have gone into markets maybe a year ago or 2 years ago or something like that. And like, I'm always a big proponent of like everything has a silver lining. You know what I mean? Like it's good that we didn't go into Giant with this type of product or with the product before, because it wouldn't have sold. And now with the new cans, like, we've done very well here locally, and the new cans will be rolling out into our new regional partners. So we're moving into PA, maybe moving to New York City, maybe move down south a little bit, North Carolina, into Florida. And I think the cans that say that stress relief drink there on the front with the bolder colors, the bigger fruit flavor, all of that is going to really pop off the shelf.
For sure.
And it's super direct. People are going to understand exactly what it is. It's not confusing. They'll be able to look at it very quickly and say, oh, ashwagandha. Oh, I'm familiar with that. It's super trendy right now. They'll turn to the back, and instead of just having the milligram count, they'll have breakdowns of what the ingredients are, calling out that clinical trial for ashwagandha.
Yeah.
It's like I'm thankful it took us this long to get here. You know, of course, every day it's a battle mentally of being like, okay, patience versus just raising a ton of money and being able to pump it in and burning all the cash. But I'd prefer to try to own my business. That's kind of our goal. So it's a hard thing to manage, but try to get your finances in check. You know what I mean? There's the difference between a dreamer and someone who executes. We're realizing this now. There's a ton of brands that I see that are the founders, and no harm to them. It's just, you can't just be a dreamer. You have an idea of a concept, that's great. You need to be able to operate your business. What does that look like financially? You know, forecast everything out. Know how much product you're going to sell. Read your fucking contracts. Like, you will get screwed. And I hear a lot of people kind of moaning and groaning about these distributors online, but if you read the contract, you'd know what you were doing. You know, like it's really just that. So you got to get back to being real business owners and not just people with ideas. You know, you have to execute. You have to execute.
Yeah, for you guys, I know you're mentioning so much, like, it's literally just gold, by the way. I'm letting you know, there's gonna be like a bunch of CPG brand owners. They're gonna be like,
I hope so. And I'm open, dude. And I'm open. I talk to people all the time. Like, please call me, reach out to LinkedIn, whatever it is. Like, I'm here. I don't mind. Like, I'm not a gatekeeper. You know, I'm a big abundance. There's more than enough for everyone. That being said, if you're trying to start a stress relief drink, don't. It's not going to work. No.
Giving you too much sauce. He's giving too much sauce.
Yeah, too much.
But do you want to go more? Do you want to like double down on wholesale, or do you want to just do some more D2C, do more like online sales? What's kind of the future?
Yeah, we're big in wholesale. I mean, the distribution business that we've now built itself is going to be a multi-million-dollar operation. So we not only distribute Zenjoy, we also distribute other brands as well. There's a local chip brand called My Dad's Chips that we sell. Yeah, and then we're also doing a new drink brand that I'm just going to kind of wait just to make sure that goes through before we start talking about it publicly. But we're doing more brands this year into Giant, which is huge.
So, do you mean you're going to be? What do you mean? What's the collaboration with them?
Yeah, so direct to store distribution is our business model here locally in the region. So like most CPG companies, when they're going into market, they're working through a distributor. So you're losing margin there. You don't have boots on the ground. Who knows what's happening to your product once it's actually delivered to the location. A lot of places, especially like if it's a warehouse, it gets dropped into the back of a receiving. And then if it doesn't go to shelf, it doesn't go to shelf. If it dies there in the warehouse, you're getting charged back for that product. So we're able to get extra placements. We're able to make sure our product's moving. We're able to pull out damaged product. We're able to fix different facings, have good connections with the managers. And that's what's called direct to store distribution. So that's why we run our own trucks. Right now we run 3 trucks. We're about to buy another one. I have a 4th. Hire a full-time driver to be able to actually handle some of the routes so that we don't have to be on. That's why when we were talking originally about waking up, I was like, 2 days of the week, I'm usually up around like 4:30, 4:45 just to do those routes. Thankfully, other days I can sleep in a little bit more, 6, 7 o'clock. But it's one of those things that we didn't even realize when we started doing distribution that in itself is a business that could be worth $5 to $10 million. You know, a small business, it won't. I mean, unless we decide to bring on 20 brands, 30 brands, and become a major distributor in the region, it could just be a smaller business that kind of gets us some easy cash flow to continue to grow Zenjoy. Where again, we don't have to be taking cash from investors or loans because we're making profit there to be able to do ourselves or invest into Zenjoy, back into Zenjoy, without having to kind of get it from an outside source, which is great. Because building a brand is burning cash. That's really a lot of what it is. It's just trying to restrict that cash burn to as little as possible. I mean, you have to do marketing. You have to open doors. It costs money to put product on shelves. There's a lot of places where that cost comes in. But we're doing with distribution as well. I'm sitting down with the distributor here at 10 o'clock today. That's local to help us get into more cafes, help us manage our cafe clients. We're stepping into Pennsylvania, and that's through a distributor as well. And so it's a two-pronged approach on that side. And then when it comes to direct-to-consumer stuff, honestly, we haven't really done much with it. I'm pushing now on Amazon to really pump that channel. I think that's going to be a huge thing. And if I had not been neglecting it before, I'm sure we would be doing thousands of dollars minimum a month off of Amazon right now. But I'm going to push that now. So like, Alex, I'm going to reach out to you in like 2 weeks. I'm going to be like, here, bro, go buy this Amazon and I'll refund you for it. Like, I'll pay you for it if you just leave me a 5-star review once you get the case. Whatever case you want. And we're going to start doing that. I'm going to have a few strategies to just make sure we can pump a bunch of reviews into our listings. And unfortunately, I worked with a group that like just didn't do a great job with the listings, unfortunately. And like they have a crazy setup. So like it could have gone better. And I'm sure there was things that I did, that didn't help as well. But they have a crazy setup where Amazon is actually the one fulfilling a lot of the orders for them. So my listings are now suppressed, which kind of sucks because Amazon wants their own listings with stuff they're making money on. Makes sense. So that's been a thing that I'm trying to battle back against. A lot of times, unfortunately, when it's too good to be true, you shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of learning that again now. But
no, I think wholesale is really, and I think wholesale is such a, I think the word describes is such a big elephant, if that's like the best way to describe it. It's just like something so massive because, one day you're, selling your local farmers market and the next day you're like, oh shoot, we're going to be at, Target. And that's even like you're seeing your product. I was talking to a friend of mine and we were like, because we work with other brands. We're like, the day we see, like, for example, if we see Zenjoy at Target, I'm like, I had a conversation with Daniel like 5 months ago or whatever. I'm like, that's crazy.
It's not going to be 5 months. It's probably going to be a couple of years. Target national. Bro, I'm taking it slow. We do step by step, region by region, and make sure, because I have some friends who just launched Whole Foods National and we did the math on it. And like, shout out the Leisure Project guys, hydration drinks or bomb products, 16-ounce cans. It's all about hydration. They're based in LA. But I just did the math on it. It was like $250,000, to launch all the Whole Foods, whether it's the free fill that you do to get into the store, opening up distribution, like that's, you're on promo usually when you drop into a store, so you're spending money there. But just 500 locations, I think they have 3 SKUs, a case of each, like it all adds up. Your broker fees to do that. And that's something I see all the time, and you have to be careful. Like, for example, when we launched in PA, we're working with a distributor to do that. And the second line item in their contract says that they don't pay you until you sell through your first order. So if you did a national launch into Sprouts, which they service, and you went into all 400 or 500 stores in Sprouts, and you did 1 PO to all of those stores, let's say you have a 6-month shelf life on your product, and it doesn't sell, you're out of all of that. I mean, not only are you out of all of that product because it's expiring on the shelf, but you're not getting paid, and your brand might just fail right then and there. You know what I mean? So we're very careful about how we build and how we launch regionally. Just
because over expanding too fast.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't have the cash to burn. I'm sure if we raised millions of dollars, or like if my parents had deep pockets and it just stayed in the family, there's brands that have that, then like we could just say, fuck it, do crazy marketing campaigns and make it happen, I'm sure. Especially with the type of product like this, like it is just so easy for people to be interested in it. That I'm not like, I'm sure it's possible, but that's just not the case where we are right now. So we're being slow. We're taking it slow.
You're being smart about it. You're being very smart about it. Obviously, I don't know all the intricate details, so like don't take my word for it. But from what I know about you, and as far as this conversation goes, and what we talked about, off camera, I think you're taking it very slow. You're taking it very smartly, and I think you guys are gonna go really far. I have one more question that I think
hit me.
I think I'll get like very deep on this, but when you first got started out. And I'm going to ask you this because I'm seeing a lot of emotion. I'm seeing a lot of energy. And I know for a fact when you're talking to a bunch of distributors, when you're talking to people, you have that same emotion because you have that passion, right? So when you first got started, if you don't mind me asking, like, what was that thing that, like, I don't want to say kept you going, but made you want to start and never stop, because you have unlimited energy and it seems like you're not.
You got to be passionate about what you do at the end of the day. Like growing up, I always said that I wanted to help people. I don't know if it was going to be nonprofit or what it was going to be. And I hope when we do start really making money with Zenjoy, I can do more philanthropy and like do just good in the world. That's always been a big goal of mine. I never thought I would be doing this. You know what I mean? But that's one thing that I think myself and my partners can get behind, is that the product actually does help people. I have people all the time reaching out saying, hey, it helped me with this. I'm doing tests today in school and I was super stressed. I'm a teacher, and stressed my parents, whatever it is. And that's huge. I think, I mean, like, just simply, like, you have to be passionate. I think, especially when it comes to like anyone in this world, our generation really struggles with this. And it's something I talk to my friends about all the time. It's just like, whether it's a hobby, or whether it's parenting or whatever it is, you have to be passionate about something in life. Otherwise you will just like be depressed. You have to find some type of passion. Not every day is easy. You know, that's not what I'm getting at. Shit sucks sometimes. Things are hard. You think I enjoy waking up at 4:45 in the morning to do deliveries that I've been doing for the last year? Like, not at all. But it's part of the process, and you have to just be passionate about what you're doing. That is like the baseline, to keep the energy up. I mean, you got to be careful about burnout, especially when we work in this space. When you're doing the startup, you're working 10 hours a day, you're working 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, whatever it is, 6-7 days a week. Give yourself some space. You know what I mean? I'm this year, I'm big on giving myself a little bit more grace in general. You know what I mean? Not being so hard on myself. Like, obviously you need to be disciplined, get your fucking shit done. Like, people are relying on you, and you need to be able to rely on yourself and your business partners. But don't beat yourself up over things that are going to happen. You know, unfortunately in business, shit's going to hit the fan, you know, and you need to be able to kind of have the mental wherewithal to be able to deal with it and move forward. But I think the simple answer to that question, that's not the simple question, but is you need the passion. You have to have that passion. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, like, it's not simple just to be like, find something else. You know what I mean? But spend the time to figure out what that looks like. And I'm super passionate about Zenjoy. And at least for now, like, I look at it, it's my child, bro. Like, every day I wake up, it doesn't matter if my child is doing well, and thankfully we're doing very well. But every day I wake up and I'm excited to build and be in the space and time, no matter if I'm working. Like, I don't think about a 40-hour work week. You know what I mean? Like, this is my life all the time. Like, most days I'm working 10 hours plus. And it's not even a thing in my mind where I'm like, oh, damn, I have to do this. I'm just there. You know, I'm flowing. I'm making it happen. Whether it's talking to you, talking to distributors, I'm working on a brand ambassador program, interviewing people for that, running events on the weekends. Like, it's not always something I want to do necessarily, right? Like, I would love to go and be on a beach somewhere, or like go on vacation more, or whatever it is. My partners would say I go on vacation enough, but but it's like one of those things where, like, you just have to find that passion in what you do, and whatever that looks like. And especially, I think for our generation, it's something that we struggle a lot with, especially in the way the world is now. Whether it's religion, or whether it's the business that you're operating, the family that you love, the people that you're supporting, that you have to find that passion. You really do.
Passion. That's passion.
The meaning of life, bro.
Meaning of life. Yeah, and for you, it's the baby. It's Zenjoy.
Yeah, it is. Right now it is. And of course, like, there's other driving factors there. Like, I would love to be able to support my dad. Like, I would love to be able to buy his ass a Bentley. You know, it's his favorite car. Like, that'd be so cool. Like, he doesn't even drive, but I have to get him a driver. So, you know, you know, like, there's other things there, right? And the philanthropy thing, being able to help people at a large scale. Like, I've done some traveling in the past, and like, no one understands how much these even $10,000 or $20,000 can go to some of these other communities across the world, or even the communities in the US, just to really help people, whether it's with bills or helping them, like, something in their house, heat, whatever it is. I know we need it here in Baltimore. That's for fucking sure. The school system is horrible. The kids don't even have heat in half the fucking schools in Baltimore city public schools. So, like, there's just small things that you can do. But yeah, passion, man. It's all passion.
Brother, it was a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for hopping on the pod.
Definitely, man. Good time. I appreciate you as well.